Alright, lads and lasses, welcome along. It's Tuesday, trying a new logo, well, a new layout, see if this works for us, eh? Gonna go through and do something that I think I've mentioned it a few times on some of the videos we've done in the past. It's probably time to start putting it together, yeah? And that's gonna be with data core, yeah, or core data sets. Alright, so why do I want a core data set? What's the point of this nonsense, right? Well, fundamentally, it's things you keep using, yeah? So a calendar table, we're going to use it in almost every report we do. And chances are, because we work for the same place, the calendar is going to be about the same. So in the real world, it's useful to be able to put these things in SQL. Yeah. Let's get the database team on board. Let's get everything built properly. Let's make sure we're doing it right. Yeah. Makes sense. However, do we need to, right? Is there a benefit for it? How does that work? One of the things that you'll have, one of the challenges that many people have, is in business, you've got a corporate calendar. Now, corporate calendars often don't use like the general calendar. You know, what do you mean corporate doesn't use proper calendar? How stupid that. What kind of an idiot does that? Hey, many retail businesses find it's important, for example, that their fiscal periods end at the end of what they would consider their working week. So for many of them, that'll be on a Saturday, right? You might see some saying on a Sunday, on a Friday, right? That's normal. And they will operate then on what's called a 445 or a 454 or a 544. 444. Yeah. Gotta love retail calendars, man. Do it simple. Okay. If that's the case for your business, then, you know, getting IT involved to build a calendar table and then having to say to them, right, these are the periods you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do, right? It's all possible, right? It all works really well. The reality is there a value add from doing it, right? And the more I think about it, the more I've gone through these things, for your core data structures that are core, they're not data, but they're central to what you're going to do, yeah? It kind of becomes important. So centralized management of this is definitely good, and it's the way to go. And generally would say, you know, let's pull this out of individual report packs, put it somewhere else. And as I say, you would be putting it to IT, because, you know, make it safe for its IT, you know, do the right thing with it. Don't trust me with it. You can't be trusted, fiddle, little hand, fiddle. Oh, right. So, no. Whereas now, we've got something else in the arsenal, haven't we? Power BI's got another trick up its sleeve, right? What's the trick? Dataflows, right? So Dataflows are basically, they allow you to use Power Query or the mashup engine to build table sets. So let's have a look, see, yeah? Go to me face, right? And let's get into Power BI, yeah? All right, so here's my home screen in Power BI, yeah? If I go out to a workspace, you'll see I've added a core data or a data core. Right? This is not a core data, the data core that we've got, right? In the data core, I've got a calendar. In the calendar, I've got a table. Oh, it's just, you know, genius this. And these are the fields that I've added, the columns that are in that table. Okay, and if we go in here and choose to edit it, we can come back in after the fact and we can always edit them and we can manage them and we can set them up and we can do that. Now, because it's its own workspace, I can also put controls around that. So I can limit who can edit it, and I can make that, well, that's just going to be me trusted, like core data ninjas or something like that, right? They're the only people who are able to modify data flows, these core data flows. We could do that, right? Just so you can see, is I've actually built, excuse me, click buttons in the wrong place, man. I've built 3 tables. Why is there 3 tables? What's going on? Right? One of the things I wanted to do, I mentioned retail calendars, didn't I? Right? So if you've got a retail calendar, maybe something you want to do. Now, one of the things that we did here was we added in this month drift. So we've been able to put in month drift and do that. Now, the easiest way to do it was to build a table. Right? So I've built this month drift table. Now, the way it's built is it's referencing my original calendar table that I pulled in from M, right? It's a normal little table I've built. we've cut it back to just have year and month as the only two columns there. We've made them unique. So we've removed all the duplicates of it, and I've given it an index. Okay, so we can see 1900, month 1. So January 1900 is month ID 1, right? Dead easy, that. That's simple enough, yeah? So my calendar I've built goes from 1900 to 2100 because I want to cover lots of stuff. So anything that the business is going to do should fall within that window, yeah? I'm pretty sure that should be the case, right? I didn't think I'm going to be doing too much back in 1895, right, like that. But if I was, it's not a problem. Come into here, and we can see the way this is built. I've got a start date, so I can change that, yeah? And I've got an end date, so I can always come in the end date, change that to say, well, we're going to end 31st of December 2150, yeah? We'll leave it as 2100, yeah? But that way, it's all it matters, right? It works out the number of days between the two values, calculates a date column, and then from the date column, you're building all the normal stuff you do, right? If you want to make changes to it, you can add them in here. You can drop stuff in, right? At the end of this query, you can see we've already managed to do the date difference. So we've used something to work out how many days the drift is. And we've done something to work out the year drift. So the idea is that 0 in these drift columns is current. So day drift 0 is today. Year drift 0 is this year. Month drift 0 is, of course, this month, right? So what I've done is for the month drift is I've got this idea here. And this is something that you can do and replicate if you've got a corporate calendar. So if you've got something like that, what you would need to do is put a date and a description, right? And you might have a date, description, and ID. You might find ID is useful because there'll be stuff you want to do with it in terms of if you want to have your current, right? If you build a table like that and manage that separately as a spreadsheet, you could always import that spreadsheet. As it changes, you just add things to it, right? And you keep moving forward. So, we've now got the next fiscal year's been agreed. These are me periods that we've got to put in, right? Champion, job works brilliant, job's a good one, right? What's happening in the calendar is you see here, we've pulled everything in together. So we've referenced the original source to start with, right? Which is the calendar, the query that we've pulled in. And then we've merged the queries. So we've pulled in this. So what month builder, so whatever your builder is, you'd want to do something similar, right? And then this is where I think it gets nice. There's a nice thing to do with this. Once you've done that and you've expanded it, so I've expanded the month ID column, right? So you can see here's the month IDs for them all. We've then inserted a conditional column. So here we go, right? It's this conditional column. Now what we're doing with this is we're saying, well, for today, give all a month ID. So that's all you're going to do. Because what we want to know is whatever that month ID is, make that be in this column value. Otherwise, make it null. Yeah? Otherwise, make it a null column. Okay? Really simple, but it's a really important thing to do. So what this will mean is that I have one month ID now. Yeah? Or a column which has got a single value in it. Once I've got my single value, then I do a fill up and a fill down, right? And that means then that every value in that column is going to be the same. So we can turn around and we can say, right, add another custom column where we take the month ID away, or the current month value away from the month ID value, yeah? So then we end up with a negative value for things in the past and a positive value for things in the future. We're going to change the column types and remove the little ancillary columns that we use to help build it. Yeah. And we end up then with a nice, simple model, right? Let's cancel out of that. We'll come here, right? So I've now got this. This calendar table is available. Gotcha with Dataflows is when you first do them, you've got to make sure that you refresh them. So when you first build it or you've done anything with it, go in, hit refresh now. and you'll see it's going to refresh the data. So that's going to build the table. Otherwise, you've built a data flow and it's just a list of instructions, but you've never run the instructions, which means you've got no tables, right? Set it to refresh. This case is going to refresh at 12:30. Okay. How do I know that it's worked? How can I prove what's going on with it? Dead easy again, isn't it? So we want to open up Power BI Desktop. So we've opened Power BI Desktop. Next thing we need to do is choose Get Data. Okay, and from Data, we're going to choose Power BI Dataflows. There we go. So we've chosen to load a Power BI Dataflow. It's going to scan away, bring me back my list. Here are your data flows that you've got access to. We've got the data core. And at the moment, I've just got a calendar table set, right? This is where over time, as I add these, you'll see this list adds. And then in each table set, you've got a list of tables that are available. So we've just got calendar in the calendar. So we'll highlight that and I can click transform the data. Okay, and that's going to bring it into my new Power BI desktop file, just like it would any other data set or data source. And then I can just hit close and apply. And that's now going to save and load it and bring it into my Power BI report pack. And I've now got a calendar and I've not had to think, how do I do it? What do I need to put in there? Anything like that. It's all just done for me. We can prove that it works because I can come down here, get into the table view, and I can say, right, for the month drift, let's see where it equals 0. Right, and I'll tell you what, let's sort by date. Sort this ascending. What we can see, if we look here, we can see 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it's clear. And you guys can see, oh, hey, shooting this video on Friday. That's what we're doing, right? And now because that's there, as long as I have access to the workspace, right, or to the data within the workspace, and that's managed through. So to manage permissions, it's not difficult, right? All we're doing is thinking about the workspace, really. So the easiest way is you manage through the access here. You can see I'm the admin, the only person here got access to it. If you add anybody else into it, give them viewer access, and then all they can do is view and read the data that's in there. It's going to be really useful because it's going to allow me to make sure that all the calendars I use in all the report packs going forward are all going to be this one. And that's going to mean that over time, if data set 10 or 11 needs a different calendar, we can actually make changes to our calendar, and then that's available retrospectively and in the future for everything else that we're doing. But by leveraging the power of Dataflows to put in this kind of management layer almost, that really, there's no business benefit from putting it into a SQL server, right? It'd be great if it was, right? It'd be great if we could do all that, right? But once you start to get into the whole, how do I manage this and have updates that then I have to feed to them, and then I have to, it becomes, you're back to that whole slower, more cumbersome way of doing things, right? The agility that Dataflows give you is a real compelling argument for their use case. So, gone through, built a data flow, right? I'll extract the JSON from it, Geordie Intelligence. So you're going to find we're going to start trying to put files on Geordie Intelligence for you to download. So if there's things you want, they'll be there. Things we're mentioned in the videos, they'll be there. Things in the data sets, they'll be there, right? So don't forget, like and subscribe, get to the Geordie Intelligence website. Yeah, let us know how we're doing. And for you guys, keep supporting us so we keep growing. Wouldn't be able to do it without any of you. Thanks. You're great. Cheers.